pounds in the black corner. From St. Louis,
Here comes Mr. Pro.
Andre the Giant.
Gonna get his legs in on the bruiser. Hulk Hogan.
Number one, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
His opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner. From Van Nuys, California.
Welcome into Retro Wrestling Rewind, episode 31. As always, I am one half of the greatest uncrowned tag team champions of the podcast universe. I'm David Fine, alongside the true Long Island IZ, Zack Ryder. Even though your counterpart in Long Island, the other IZ, Zack Ryder, he's still the tag team champion. So
Fuck that guy.
Hey, that guy's got a family. That guy's got a family, buddy.
No, he doesn't. He just got engaged.
I'm sorry. He's got a really, really, really hot fiance.
Bless his heart.
Oh yeah, bless his heart. The man plays with dolls, and he still has a hot. He must make a lot of money or have a big collection.
Well, he's probably at the $150,000 a year range.
Money talks, But so yeah, last week WrestleMania 10, it's gotten a lot of good ratings. But this week we are talking. We're going from WWE's pay-per-view WrestleMania 10 in Madison Square Garden to Slamboree 1999 at the TWA Dome in St. Louis, Missouri, with a capacity crowd of 20,516.
The hell of a house.
That was a true number. Do you think there's a?
I mean, it's papered. I mean, I don't have the Observer in front of me to find out how much they papered it, but I'm sure they papered quite a bit. But it's still 20,000 people to watch WCW.
Going into this choosing of our show this week, I mean,
they're not for nothing. Not for nothing. I'm sitting here, and I go to the network to put this fucking show on. And I was like, this motherfucker, David Fine, is going to make me watch another fucking shitty show. And to be completely honest, in a vacuum, the show itself is not bad.
There's a lot of things that are good in a vacuum. Did you watch? I know you have in the past some of the TV
No, you know why? Because I don't watch any Nitros after they change the logo.
You talking about the logo that looks like the?
That fucking looks like fucking shit. What the fuck is that? Who designed that? Buff Bagwell's mom? I don't understand.
Tony Schiavone call it like something about a vagina, something like a.
I don't know. It's fucking gross.
I'm not a big fan of the new look for. I don't know who was booking that shit at the time. Was it Bishop?
Nash, maybe.
I mean, it was.
I'm pretty sure it was
the
Nash.
Stuff leading up to the show. I was watching the Nitro before. I mean, the stuff we'll be talking about in the show coming up.
The Ric Flair being the president of the United States is funny, but it's shitty. But it's funny, but it's shitty.
I think and I'll give a spoiler, the greatest moment of my watching of it was Little Nate.
I know he's a friend of yours.
Charles Robinson. Oh my, it's just, is it me or did he look exactly like Ric Flair except,
I think that was the idea. Even body type wise, just a smaller version. Although he can't put on a figure four to stay with.
Yeah, we'll talk about the match. I mean, some of those moves were.
Why is that even on the show? Like why? Like that's what's fucked up.
It's WCW.
Like when they do shit like that.
It's WCW in 1999. I mean.
But this is, to me, watching the show. This is the last. I feel it's the last WCW show of that era, because if you go watch Great American Bash 99, it's that really awful fucking really, really bad WCW. Like they're not there yet. So they're still riding the highs of 1998 still, even in May. But you can see the wheels are starting to actually the wheels started to fall off in late 97, but it took them a year to get to this point.
Yeah, I mean it's up and down. What would you give? The whole show. I mean, just before we start talking about it, yeah.
Out of 10, like a 6.
Yeah, I'd give it about a 7. We didn't, of course.
if you don't watch the TVs, it's not bad because you know the TV, because you have to watch that Thunder, you got to watch that Nitro, you got to watch Worldwide, you have to watch Saturday Night, and I'm pretty sure that all those shows were shitty.
Yeah, they were.
I never watched them, but I'm pretty
And
sure
Thunder
they were
was
shitty.
basically a recap of Nitro, so it's
At this point, they still have original. It later on becomes a little bit more of a recap, but there's still 2 hours of like shenanigans on that show. You'll see like Barry Darsow versus Scott Putski, because WCW's roster at this time was fucking enormous. It's probably bigger than the current WWE roster. There's so many guys on that roster, and it's one of the problems is why they lost $60 million this year. They had to cut a lot of those salaries. And they're just paying out way too much for these guys who are not making TVs or pay-per-view appearances.
Kind of get the old ball rolling down the hill real quick. The first match, of course, was the dark match. It was Dale Torborg,
the Demon
versus the great Johnny Swinger. We didn't see this because it was a dark match. But what were your thoughts on Johnny and Dale?
I like Johnny Swinger. I thought he was going to be something. I didn't think he was going to be a top guy or nothing, but I thought that someone would use him. I think, ECW probably used him the best, but, it's Johnny Swinger. What are you going to do with Johnny Swinger?
We're not going to even talk about that because, of course, it was a dark match.
Dale Torborg wasn't he was shit.
Didn't he play something about baseball? He was in baseball.
Yeah, that was this big thing that, he's a former baseball player coming in and they put the Kiss Demon gimmick on him, and that was shitty, and I don't know. It was awful.
Yeah, it was. It's to steal your catchphrase, not for nothing. Thank God it was not on the pay-per-view. They had enough crap on there. But
look at the guys who are not on their show. You want to rattle some dudes off? We'll rattle some dudes off. Where's Kurt Hennig? Where's Lex Luger? Where's Eddie Guerrero? Where is any other luchador other than Conan and Rey Mysterio? Where are these people? Hulk Hogan's out with an injury. Where are these guys?
Do you think it was because they didn't want to put him on the show, or they kind of at the end of WCW's run?
No, I think it goes back. It goes back to hey, you have this bloated roster. Not everyone can get on the show. They needed to make cuts. The roster was too big. Let's be honest. 1999 WCW, who could go? Luger can go, right? He's done. Luger, after winning the WCW championship from Hulk Hogan, after that point, after his Wolfpack run, he's finished. He's no good. He's done. Bye. You're done. Guys even I love Randy Savage. Randy Savage is my favorite wrestler ever. 1999 Randy Savage, what he was making, probably upwards of $1 million. Bye-bye. You're gone. I love Flair. But really, what are you going to do with him that you haven't already done with Flair?
Mental institution.
He's gone. Roddy Piper, he needs to go. Your Vincents, Virgils, they need to go. Your Brian Adams, if he's even there, he's probably there. He needs to go. Mike Rotunda needs to go. There's so many guys on the roster that just needs to go so they can spend the time developing the young talents like your Benoits, your Malenkos, your Guerreros, and those guys, Chris Jericho, and push those guys towards the top.
This first match had Raven, Perry Saturn defeat Rey Mysterio Jr. and Billy Kidman. They were the champions. It was a
three-way.
Nothing like a male three-way. Taking on Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit with a double A Arn Anderson. Rey Mysterio, like Tony Schiavone always says, he was a handsome young man. And back then it was 1999, so he was about 25.
It depends on your taste of men. He looks like he's 14. So if that's your preference,
yeah, that's not my preference.
Okay, I'm just saying. Here's the problem with Rey Mysterio taking off his mask. WCW never sold masks. You know how much money the WWE made off of fucking Rey Mysterio masks?
Yeah,
a ton. So WCW is we're not going to sell Rey Mysterio masks or Psychosis masks or La Parka or even Super Calo. We're just not going to make money here. Nope, we're not doing that because we don't like Mexicans.
Like making money. So
then instead, you would have that fucking crappy fucking Sting mask. And we'll see an appearance by the crappy Sting mask in this show.
I can't wait. But what were your thoughts on this match? It was really good.
It was good. It was good. I mean, I like Billy Kidman at the time, not so much right now, but I like Billy Kidman. Rey Mysterio is Rey Mysterio. Saturn's still good at this point. Raven is Raven. Blanco and Benoit are still, phenomenal. So you have Arn Anderson. He was able to whip out a spine buster too, which is sweet.
I mean, is it me or the referees are they make themselves.
There's no rules.
It's like point. I mean, come on. I mean, you're not an idiot. I mean, he comes in there and gives a spine buster, and you still don't see anything. Like,
no, and then you had the interference by Canyon.
Yeah, and of course, Chris Benoit was still the crippler back then. But so you said you liked Billy Kidman back then, but you don't like him now. Elaborate.
He's a weirdo.
Elaborate.
You ever seen his Instagram account?
I have not.
Yeah.
Maybe I should look at that. I'll probably have a.
Not at work.
No, I'm not at work. Gee.
No, I'm jealous of him. I'm jealous.
Oh, yeah.
I'm jealous of Billy Kidman because of his relationship with Tori Wilson.
Oh, I mean, she is a.
It's not fair. It's not fucking fair.
Life, so.
For real, still is.
At her advanced age, I'm just
advanced, Jesus.
Just.
She was like 12 when she was in WCW.
She's probably the same age as me. Yeah.
She looks exactly the
exactly
same.
The same age as me. So, just saying. Yeah, she looks a lot better than I do. So, but that doesn't take much. But I mean, what would you give? I mean, this rating.
I mean, I once saw a piece of shit in a urinal that looked better than you, but that's a whole different story.
God. Oh man. So Billy Kidman. No, yeah, I mean this match. I mean Rey Mysterio. I mean back then he was 25, so he was not. He'd been around. I
thought it was like 16 in Mexico.
And I mean he was a high flyer. Except was not a fan of his outfit. I mean he was wearing overalls. I mean really.
I mean it's 1999. If you weren't wearing overalls and Timberland boots in 1999, you weren't cool.
And Perry Saturn and
the dress at this point too.
And quote the Raven Nevermore. I mean,
the flock was already finished by this point too, and I think Raven wouldn't have much more time left in WCW. Like they would do the whole, which is a great angle. I wish they did more with it, where like he's really like a spoiled rich kid, and they do these vignettes at his house and stuff. Him and Canyon and the Sandman. So, but he'd be off to back to ECW pretty soon.
Yeah. And of course, last week we talked about WrestleMania 10 with the old great Johnny Polo. It's kind of a.
To be honest, like Raven is not Scotty. Scotty is more Johnny Polo than he is actually Raven.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, like he's more of a goofball clown than I'm super serious, depressed, and a lot of that was the drugs that he was on at the time that really kind of fleshed out that character, but. Under normal circumstances, Scotty is more Johnny Polo.
Yeah, I mean, because the show we covered last week. I mean, it was 5 years previous, so it was WrestleMania 10. So I mean, yeah, he's definitely.
Go watch Scotty the Body in Portland. He's fantastic.
Oh, he's in Portland wrestling. I'm gonna have to.
That was his first top run. Was in Portland, 89, 90.
Maybe.
Before he went to WCW as Scotty Flamingo. I mean, before he went to Global, too. He was at Global. He's been everywhere.
That'll be something that they'll have.
He was probably, of all the ECW guys that were there, like in 95, he probably had the most experience.
Yeah, he was. I wasn't a big fan of the Raven character. I mean, I kind of like.
I did at the time because it's so 1990s.
Yeah.
Like that is like the 90s.
Look.
Pre-Columbine 90s and shit.
And I mean, hopefully, they'll be having some more Portland with Scotty Flamingo or Scotty the Body up on the Jarrett Park.
You know what stands out is the Scotty the Body and I think Steve Dahl feud. Check that out. And anything that has to do with Al Madrill and Fiesta Gardens, watch that because that shit's fucking hilarious.
Are you a big Al Madrill fan?
I am. No one likes him except for me though. No one likes him other than he gets the rap of being the guy that's been like if you have Al Madrill on your roster, your company is about to close. Like if he's doing anything of note, but he's
I mean,
awesome.
Why do you think people don't like him? Just because?
I think just because he never really got a top shot anywhere. He never was really, didn't really go to WCW. Was never in WWF and any kind of roles or anything. They could have used him.
It's.
He's a good talker. I mean, he could talk. He could have been the manager of WWF easily.
I was, Al Madrill. I love Al Madrill. I love Al Perez. I mean, were you?
Well, he is the Shawn Michaels fucking cross-eyed thing going.
But of course, he was. I'm hoping that they put some of the more Portland stuff up on the Jared Parsons wrestling that.
Because the Portland stuff is probably, to be honest, is the crown jewel of that stuff. Because we've seen all the other stuff. That and ICW, because ICW no one has a lot of, and no one really has a lot of Portland because no one was really taping that off the TV. So, like all the USWA stuff and all the Memphis stuff and all the Continental and all that kind of, like we have that. Like that's out there.
I'd been on a rabbit hole with this Memphis stuff you've been sending me, and you sent me that YouTube link. And man, folks, if it's not on the network, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I mean, you can go to YouTube, type in anything, go to the Jared Parsons Wrestling on Roku, just type it in. It's free. They have Portland, they have 70s wrestling, they have 80s wrestling, they have so much stuff. But there's
the Savage ICW stuff.
Would you agree that a lot of people today, a lot of young wrestling fans, they only know the network and they only know.
I think once they see this stuff, they like it. Because I've seen guys who are like 20 years old, and all they saw was like early 2000s WWF, or maybe some ECW stuff that you got the DVD. And you put them on some Memphis, and like, oh, what is this? This is wild.
You can definitely kill a couple of 3 or 4 hours of your day going down that old YouTube hole of Memphis, and I was.
And now that they did the Crockett Cup, they're bringing it back. So that show was really good.
Kind of getting off topic. You watched the Crockett Cup?
Of course I did.
I mean, what were your thoughts on that? I mean, overall.
Really, I'm surprised about the result, to be honest. So I thought they were going a different direction with that. I thought the Briscoes were probably. Actually, I thought it was going to be Jackson and Crimson was going to win it because they're like NWA guys. I didn't think PCO and Brody King were going to win it.
Hey, I mean.
So I was kind of shocked. I thought it would be, the way it was laid out, I thought the Briscoes would make it farther. But I didn't think the Rock and Rolls, they could have won it. I mean, that would have been a nice touch.
It was funny. I mean, if they had won it, they would have been the NWA Tag Team Champions. So.
Yeah, they brought back like the old style belts too, which is sweet. And all this and Marty Scurll had a hell of a fucking match too.
And and congratulations to Colt Cabana. He's the new national champion. Yes. So I mean, what are your thoughts on them bringing that belt back? I mean, it's been a while since they brought it back, but I mean, do you think it's going to bring back the NWA in any way, shape, or form?
I think they're doing something different. I think they're going to. What they're doing now is the smart play. They're kind of, I hate the word to use, leeching off of other promotions. They don't have a weekly television show. They have a great YouTube show, 10 Pounds of Gold. Watch it. It's on YouTube. It's fantastic. Watch that. It's really, really good. And they do have a loose affiliation with Hollywood Wrestling, NWA Hollywood, whatever you want to call that, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I think is the official title of that, because there's no other day when they bought the NWA, anyone that was a licensed member of the NWA got cut, and all the titles got deactivated too. But I think what they're doing is the right move. I mean, they're not putting out all this money to have weekly television, which costs a lot of money to produce. And what they're doing is they're kind of like getting their angles over on other people's live events, So it's a smart play. It's almost ingenious. I think if they ever went to a weekly television show, it should be like primetime wrestling. Have Cornette and somebody else be your Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon, and have them tape matches from around the country in these little, independent shows.
And kind of do a best, not a best of, but kind of like,
yeah, just do a wraparound. Oh, from Georgia, you have this great match, and from Florida, we have this great match, and from Texas, we have this great match, and you kind of want to make the NWA like a worldly type organization. Maybe get some matches on a New Japan show, an All Japan show, or Falcon Noah, or 0-1, and just import matches. If you have to send some guys out to tape it, do that. Or if you have wrestlers, if you want, You have Nick Aldis' next, appearance, his next defense at a House of Hardcore show, fucking tape it and put it on your TV.
I mean, actually,
that's probably the best way to do it if because it's a lot of money to run that weekly live TV like the WWE does, and plus you really want to do something different at this point, and you kind of really want to be. You don't want to recreate what the WWE is doing. You don't want to do that. I'm gonna come out and go in the ring and get on a microphone, and then someone's music's gonna come out and they're gonna interrupt me, and then we have a match later on. Like, don't do that shit.
Yeah, I do like that idea. I mean, hopefully, they will do something like that.
Dave Lagana, are you listening?
Hey, I will. We'll just send him a message and say, "Hey, listen to this episode. We have a great.
He's a nice guy, by the way. I've actually talked to him on a couple of different occasions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for the best because I mean, NWA. That's what I grew up on. It's it's a. I mean, I don't know if you watched a lot of it growing up. I mean,
as much as I could, being from New York, and I started watching wrestling. I guess I was all in, pardon the pun, in professional wrestling in 1989. So, but I went back and I've watched it all. That Georgia stuff is, a lot of people don't like that fucking 83 Georgia stuff. I do, but
I mean, another YouTube hole I've been on. I love some Georgia Championship Wrestling. I mean, it's the late great Gordon Soley. I mean, it's like he back then he was good at what he did. I mean, he was kind of not
even more amazing that he was drunk half the time. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning too.
I mean, he was all.
That's back when men were men.
And
if you can't do your job drunk,
if you can do your job drunk, then you're really good at your job. So, at least that's what I've been told. Speaking of a match that I wish these two guys were drunk, Conan defeated Stevie Ray with the great Vincent and Horace Hogan at ringside.
Can we talk about Stevie Ray's trunks here, his tights? Stevie, what are you wearing?
There.
What is that? He looks like he's wearing pajamas. Like, I don't understand what's going on with Stevie Ray. And it says slapjack on the back because he hits people with slapjacks and has like it's really bootleg. It's like, it looks really bad. And Stevie Ray is a super tough dude, and he could have been portrayed so much better. But when you have those trunks and he says slapjack on your butt, I'm not going to take you seriously, to be honest. I mean,
maybe if you had that on some tights that didn't look like they were pajamas, but I mean,
that his gear is fucking awful. I mean, that's what stands out to me. And this is like post Conan being in the NWO, so he's not yet a No Limit soldier, and he's not with the Filthy Animals quite yet. But we're on our way.
Overall, this match. But the tights aside of Stevie Ray, what were your thoughts on this match?
It's perfectly acceptable wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't know why Vincent's out there.
Oh God!
Like, Hogan's not even in the NWO at this point. He's not in the black and white.
And
like, he's in the Wolfpack at this point.
Vincent / Virgil will reach on to anything that he can. Well,
yeah, I'm sure he was making good money at the time. Horace Hogan's there, and if you only watch Horace Hogan's WCW work, like, stop this podcast and go watch Horace Hogan and FMW, where he gets exploding rings and all that other bullshit. Check that out. That's pretty dope.
Are you a fan of those kind of matches?
In FMW, I am.
How about the other, like the exploding barbed wire, the
only in Japan.
You don't like that coming over here to the United States? No.
I don't think it works.
Because I just think because people have seen it in Japan and they've seen it on tapes and on the internet now.
Like, it's done much like you look at CZW, and they're getting better now. Like, over the last, I would say 5 or 6 years, like, their promotion is actually really good. But no, there's just Onita and them did it better because it was just like the way FMW was laid out, especially at first, it was a Japanese Memphis. That was like the concept. And they went, when the death matches got big, they started doing a lot. And they did the exploding bomb matches and the fire matches and that kind of stuff. But because Onita, wrestled in Memphis, in the early 80s. So he brought Memphis wrestling to Japan. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
But, I like it a lot.
I used to like that. I used to watch him, when I tape traded, back in
because FMW had commercial releases in the States. Like, All Japan and New Japan didn't, but FMW did.
And they were super popular. But
Get them at Suncoast Records. What was the other place that you could buy DVDs
I
from?
don't know. Blockbuster. I don't know.
Oh, like in the mall.
Oh yeah, I know. I can't off the top of my head. I can't remember.
FYE and shit.
It's not Forever 21. No.
No. Why are you in Forever 21? Can we talk about this?
I'm not in. What?
Like, why do you shop there?
Anyway.
Like a H&M type of guy,
God.
anyway.
They don't have anything in my size. Moving on. Bam Bam Bigelow, Brian Knobbs in a hardcore match. Really?
Why is Brian Knobbs on this roster? That's my question. Like, why is not Bam Bam? Like, why is he not in the main event?
And where's Jerry Sachs?
Like, they probably no. I think Jerry Sachs was fired because he had sued Kevin Nash. I believe it.
Don't want to do that.
I think that's how that went. But why is Bam Bam Bigelow not like fighting Sting or Hogan or Nash? I don't understand.
Because
they brought him in the feud with Goldberg, but that didn't go anywhere. So because it's WCW.
Because they wanted a hardcore match with Bam Bam Bigelow.
But it wasn't a hardcore match. They changed the rules in the middle of the match and it became a Falls Count Anywhere match.
How do they change that? I mean, I guess it's wrestling. So
it's WCW.
Do you think someone just decided this hardcore match is not going anywhere? Let's just Falls Count Anywhere.
I mean, but it was a hardcore match. I think they changed. I don't know if someone called the audible earlier that day and they wanted to do something with the concession stand and do the pinfall out there. But that's why it changed.
Yeah,
it was
definitely not my.
What's funny about this match is fucking Shivani and fucking and Bobby yelling at Tanay to shut up during the chair shots and the garbage can shots. I'm assuming they got an order from Bischoff not to say anything during, like, we want to hear the garbage can fucking connect and shit, make this big sound or whatever. So they're just yelling at Tanay to shut up.
Oh God,
it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, we'll kind of move on from this match. This next match, I forgot that Booker T was a TV champion, but he faced the dog-faced gremlin Rick Steiner for the TV belt.
Yeah. Why is Rick Steiner on this roster?
Why is anybody on this roster?
Like, why is he even, like, why is this not Benoit or Malenko? That's the problem.
Because they were in their first match. I don't know. I mean, it should have been. It should not. And the funny thing is, they gave the belt to Rick Steiner. How long did he keep it?
Yeah.
For? I mean,
who knows? I mean, I know they. One of the big themes of this show was the Steiner brothers reuniting here. It's one of the big themes of their show. We'll see it during the Scott Steiner Buff Bagwell match, but I don't know, man. It's fucking weird.
I mean, and just think, folks, he is on the.
Because they could have used the Steiners as a tag team back because their tag team division is so fucking light at this point. But it doesn't help when the Steiners have single belts, and you're gonna bring them together back as a tag team. But they didn't really go back as a tag team anyway.
Yeah,
so
I mean, obviously their tag team division is light. They only have one tag team match on the show. I mean, yeah, I mean, and folks, and just think, Rick Steiner is on the school board of the Cherokee County School Board in Georgia. So, hey, folks. Your kids' futures are in Rick Steiner's hands, so that's kind of scary. So,
Booker T at the time, he really liked the nasal strips, huh?
Yeah, that my dad. No,
I mean,
my dad started wearing those about the same time. It must have been must have been watching.
My dad
he must
too.
Have been watching
my dad
WCW
too.
and Booker T. I mean, he said sucker. He just had, I mean, and he was trying to wear the nasal strip at WrestleMania 35, but I said, please don't do that. Don't embarrass me. So, but this next match, Gorgeous George, Medusa, Miss Madness, of course, was Molly Holly. Randy Savage, your favorite wrestler.
Why is Randy Savage a pimp? Like, Randy Savage is all TV for like a ton of time, right? I don't know if he was hurt. It clearly got back on the gas here because he's fucking ginormous. And he comes back as a pimp. Like, what's going on here? Like, whose idea was this? Like, I understand that he wants to get, Gorgeous George, Stephanie Bella, back on on TV because that's his new girlfriend, and she is good looking. She's gorgeous, literally. Put him with Medusa, okay, Medusa, and then you have Molly Holly here, and he's clearly a pimp. I don't understand what they're doing with Randy here.
And
he should be gone. I mean, because like a lot of these guys that I propose to be cut by WCW aren't guys that the WWF are going to use anyway. Like, they weren't going to bring back Piper. They didn't need him. They weren't going to bring in Flair, although there were talks during this time of Flair coming back and feuding with Austin. And they certainly weren't going to bring back Savage, so they weren't going to bring back Luger.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why. I mean, it's just he just looked, like you said, he looked like he was back on the gas. I mean,
he's probably his biggest, to be honest. And they're doing this thing where he's interfering in DDP's matches. So DDP that's how he won the championship to begin with. It was interference by Randy Savage, and he interferes in the main event later on tonight too. But I don't think they really explained that well. Well, I know for a fact they didn't explain it that well.
I mean, imagine that.
It would made sense. Like what would have made sense is that Savage wants to keep the belt on DDP because he feels he can beat DDP, and he's trying to angle for a shot. That's what would have made sense.
And imagine that Charles Robinson. I mean, some of the moves that the Ric Flair, signature moves were just hilarious. I mean, what were your thoughts on his portrayal of Little Nate?
Like, I like the whole concept of it. Like, the concept is fine. It's great. There's no reason for this match, though.
No.
Like, there's no. It's just you can't do what the WWE is doing. So you can't do like the scantily clad women or that kind of stuff on WCW television because of their standards and practices. So I'm not sure why you would necessarily have to have this match.
Because Randy Savage wanted to get his girlfriend in a match. So just say, I don't know.
Yeah, but you could put her. I mean, there's women out there for her to do. Bring in Leilani Kai or Judy Martin.
What are your thoughts on the Ric Flair, the whole mental institution angle? I mean,
it's funny. Like that stuff is hilarious. Like he thinks he's the legit president. He keeps on stripping off his clothes. He does the elbow drops and all that stuff. It's funny, and he's essentially the top villain. But you're gonna take that Ric Flair authority figure kind of nonsense, and you put that up against Vince McMahon. It doesn't work.
It does not work. That was an okay. This next match, I am not a fan of either one of these two wrestlers. Scott Steiner, he was the current United States champion, taking on Buff the Stuff Bagwell. Did you see in the crowd they had so many, Scott Steiner hater posters that they kept on showing. So I think Buff's kind of a miniature version of Scott. I mean, he was not as juiced as Scott Steiner. I mean, why you're a fan of Scott? I mean, I'm just not a fan.
If you watch like early Scott Steiner, he's doing moves and stuff that we've never seen before. You give Scott Steiner a live mic and he's completely insane.
Yeah.
You don't know what he's going to fucking say, and it kind of makes it exciting. So every time you see Scott Steiner on TV, it's like, this is going to be a fucking train wreck, but it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Buff Bagwell is the babyface here because he's coming back off that injury where he broke his neck when Rick Steiner broke his neck. So he's coming back off that injury, and he's a babyface now. The babyface Buff Bagwell.
What are your thoughts on the babyface Buff?
Doesn't work. I mean, even when he was Marcus Alexander Bagwell, he wasn't a good babyface.
Now he's Cowboys and Angels. So, yeah,
still looks good though.
Yeah, for his age, I don't know what his age is currently, but he is 49. So yeah, I mean, he's still selling his wares and his goods at WrestleCon 2019. But yeah, I mean, what were your thoughts? I mean, giving Scott Steiner the U.S. title. I mean, did you think that?
Oh, he needs a push. That's for sure. I mean, he's one of those guys that's been around for so long, and they've always flirted with giving him a push. I mean, he never got one. He's been strictly in the mid card for basically his entire career, and he's one of the guys, along with DDP, that they're trying we're trying to elevate these guys. So I don't disagree with that. I think, when he wins, he's one of the more interesting things that happen in later on WCW when he wins the belt. Not Jeff Jarrett, by the way, but Scott Steiner. Not Sid either.
This next match had a man who said he should have been out of there a long time ago.
We didn't talk about the Scott Steiner run-in. I mean, the Rick Steiner run-in
sorry,
on this match.
I totally...
Yeah, Rick Steiner makes a run-in here, and the Steiner brothers are back together, and you think they're going to fucking raise hell, but they don't.
I mean, do you think, as that outsider looking in as a wrestling fan,
Steiner brothers are better than the Road Warriors?
No. No.
Yeah.
We'll debate about that later on, buddy. But no, I mean, Scott is a single, Rick is a single, or as a tag team?
Depends. No way in hell that Rick Steiner should ever be a single, but Scott Steiner could do both.
Yeah.
And there's
no way in hell that either the Steiner brothers should ever be on a microphone. Scott's
Except I want Scott Steiner to get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I'll watch that show.
Who would induct him? Good Lord.
It'd probably be Rick.
You think that ever would ever happen?
No.
Well, I mean, it is a Hall of Fame that doesn't have actual.
I mean, Scott Steiner probably had like one of the world's worst matches, but depends. Either Triple H or Test. Take your pick. They're probably -5 stars a piece, and they're really bad. During his WWF run,
that's
his
funny.
later one.
Well, moving on, Roddy Piper, Ric Flair.
Why is he on the roster?
Ric Flair. Oh, I mean, I don't know why Rowdy Piper is on that. I mean, he is.
Fuck this match. I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about Eric Bischoff, the babyface. Because Eric Bischoff makes an appearance here. And he's clearly a babyface. And I forgot that even happened. And looking at the context of the show and what happens surrounding this show is that they should have went with that. They should have went with the Eric Bischoff babyface run as the authority figure. Because that would have made sense. It would have been the polar opposite of what Vince is doing. And it would have made more sense.
Yeah, I mean...
And he's a good babyface. Because he's not going to take shit. Like, he's not going to be afraid to... Like, even when he was a babyface announcer on Nitros, like, he took that powerbomb from Nash. And he stood up. Yeah. And I think at this point, the NWO was essentially a babyface group. At least the Wolfpack, the Red and Black is. The White and Black is just, like, jobbers at this point. But I would have made him babyface. And I would have had him be the babyface, vice president of WCW, and would have went with that.
I mean,
but this match would have been great in 1989, 1979, 1984, 1985, 1986. Hell, even in 1993. Well, not 1999.
Yeah, I mean, Piper in the 80s was...
Piper has the bad hip. He can barely do anything.
Yeah, I mean, he was great in the 80s, but 1999, not so much.
No,
it was...
And he's so as a authority figure that he was so weird too. Like, it didn't work for him in the WWF either. Yeah. When he was the president of the WWF or interim
they
president.
Just do that for people that they don't have anything else for them to do and they're legends. I just don't understand that. But.
I think they had to justify. He had a fat contract, I assume, and Piper. He's a name, and let's put him on TV and give him something to do.
So.
But he shouldn't be anywhere near a world title at this point. Not, ever since he beat Hogan in '96, there's no way he should be anywhere near main event.
No, he should not be anywhere. No, I don't think so. Moving on to the next match, Sting and my favorite wrestler, and I say that sarcastically, Georgia's own Goldberg to a no contest.
This is the best Sting would look after the Crow gimmick ever. Like, he looked like dog shit in '97, looked like dog shit in '98. Looks good here, and then after this, doesn't look so good anymore.
No, he does not.
I mean, he looks great in this match, in this one match, this match in a vacuum. He looks great. And I thought, when I saw this originally, I thought this was going to be like Sting's resurgence. He's back. Because they could really fucked him in 97 and 98. So We'll talk about that when we do Starrcade '97.
I cannot wait to do that. Maybe that'll be next week's show. We'll just have to.
Why is Bret Hart on this show?
He's not even on. I don't. That's what I want to ask you. Okay, so the poster for Slamboree has a person who mildly resembles Bret Hart.
It looks like Bret Hart and DDP.
And was that the way they were gonna go? And they just didn't.
No, it's just like they put random shit on those fucking posters and the VHS boxes for no reason.
That's
because they would put them out. From what I understand, they would put them out so far in advance that it's not like you see a poster of the Royal Rumble and it would have the guys who are actually in the show. Like there's a cover of Fall Brawl '98 where it's Sting and Goldberg on the poster, and Goldberg doesn't even appear on that show.
Hey, you know who's tweeting me live as we speak? The
Simon
current
Slaughter?
National Wrestling Alliance, one half the tag team champions, PCO.
Was that bike? Was that your bike that he destroyed today?
It was. I still wish I'd gone to that. Now I wish I'd gone to that ROH New Japan show, but I'm
really
sure
good.
it was. But was it as good or better than the Crockett Cup? I mean, because it had ROH, NWA, ROH, New Japan.
It's hard to say because they're so different. That if you eliminate all the Ring of Honor matches from that Garden show, it would have been one of the best shows I've ever seen in my ever. But a lot of those ROH shows, a lot of those ROH matches I didn't care for. Crockett Cup was top to bottom was really good. But you always like a show better when you go see it live.
I mean,
anyway.
it's one of those things I need to check out. I did not. I heard some great things that
Good stuff.
And
Good
speaking
stuff.
of the quintessential main event of the evening, it was for the world.
So now I'm talking about Bret Hart coming out and beating up Goldberg for no reason, and then the Steiner brothers coming out and beat up Sting for no reason, which they don't follow up on.
Anyway, oh God,
But Sting looked good. He looked in good shape. Didn't last long.
No, it
though.
did not last long. But moving on to the main event, Kevin Nash taking on DDP, the world.
Kevin Nash is the most
champion.
over person on this
He's
roster.
a fucking booker.
But he's the most. Doesn't matter if he's the booker or not. He's the most over guy. Like he is the strongest fan reaction of anyone on the roster on their show.
Man. So
He's supposed to be a heel, but they do a turn in this match. DDP turns heel in this match.
Are you a fan of early mid 1990s, late 1990s DDP? His look.
Ooh, let's see. I don't like him with the long hair and the whitewashed dad jeans. I think that's a bad look. I do like him when he went back to like his tights later on. So like it depends on the year. So I like 2000 DDP. I don't like anything past. I don't like anything in his WWF run. I don't like him when he was teaming up with Jay Leno or Karl Malone, but he was over. So he just looked like a fucking dirty scumbag all the time.
Well, I mean, how do you really feel?
I like DDP. Like that Diamond Cutter is fucking dope.
Yeah, man.
Well, he's fucking Kimberly. Like really? Fuck, I'm jealous.
Hey,
it's all jealousy.
He saved
folks.
a lot of lives recently. So I mean, he's helped. He helped.
I got a hot take for you. Kimberly better looking than Sable.
Yes, I do. I don't.
And if I examine those two women, like you would not believe, because I do have those particular magazines. Yeah, Kimberly definitely better looking than Sable.
I want to ask where those magazines are located. They're probably in your garage, but that's beside the point. Anyway.
No, those are scanned in my computer.
Oh, no wonder you got a virus. Anyway, but I mean, overall, what was your? I mean, now that we've recapped.
Let's go back. Let's go back. So in this particular match, you have DDP, who essentially is turning heel. He takes off the turnbuckle, exposes the metal rod. He hits Nash in the head with a microphone, and then Savage comes out, smashes Nash with the belt, DDP gets him qualified, but he holds on to the belt. Then Bischoff comes out and restarts the match. He gets rid of Savage, and then Nash wins and gets a hell of a reaction. He's the most over guy on the roster right now. Doesn't matter if he's the booker or not. He's definitely the top guy at this point. He's just over. I mean, and then he would go on to face Savage, feud with Savage after this. So, but Nash is definitely sometimes that happens when the booker is the top guy. I mean, Dusty, and I think it was right for him to go over here. So I don't see no issue there. It's not like Goldberg and Starrcade, but that's neither here or there. But Nash was the guy. Nash was, I remember the time too. Everyone loved Nash at the time. Like Nash was like really, really big.
I mean, do you think it was good for them to give the title to DDP? I mean, did it help his career? I mean, do you think
it helped him? It made his perception different. It made him a top guy. He definitely needed it at this point. He's a guy. He was like a homegrown WCW guy. He started out in the fucking power plant and worked his way all the way up. So we saw that story, that accumulation of years that DDP had, and having really shitty matches, and being in tag teams with Kevin Nash and Scotty Flamingo, and being the manager of the Diamond Stud all the way up to him winning the world title. It's a great story, and it is kind of the overarching story of WCW during that time frame is the ascension of DDP. It's really important. But yeah, I thought he's over. Fuck it, put the belt on him. Let's run with him.
And before we kind of wrap up things, speaking of the thing that's, over, like the kids say, like Rover. I guess that's what they say. I don't know.
No kids say that.
Oh, sorry. Maybe it's just something that I used to say. But how do people listen to your YouTube show? I mean, it's so over. I mean, you have so many videos. I mean, I know you're doing the NWA project. How can people, get on that YouTube hole and watch all your content?
Well, type in Retro Wrestling Games Presents. Type that into the search function, and we'll be the first one that actually pops up. We have over 300 videos. We just recently did the latest NWA 1984 project. And we're doing one tomorrow, and we're going to talk about various topics, including the Viceland shows that they just came out with. So especially we're going to focus on the Bruiser Brody one and the Montreal Screwjob one, because I got some opinions on those, and we'll talk a little bit of modern wrestling, and we'll talk about modern booking versus today's booking, and what the fuck the problem is, and we'll talk Crockett Cup. And
speaking of the Viceland show, Dark Side of the Ring, that Brody one was phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
It's good. A little inaccurate.
It had Tony Atlas on it. I mean, and we met Tony and Dutch. I mean, they can both. God, you just start talking to them. They're like, blah blah blah. But I mean, it's good. I mean, they have some great things. I
can sit down and listen to the Dutch Mantel talk forever. That's the reality of the situation. There's a lot of guys who are like that. Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah, Larry.
Terry Funk.
Larry, he talked my ear off a couple years back in Rome, Georgia. He was just like, I was like, I got to go to the ring and start ring announcing, because he was just like talking to, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, he was also a big chatter. He was not a big chatter at WrestleCon, but he was a big chatter at the promotion that I worked back in mid-2.
Larry Zbyszko is a completely underrated announcer, by the way.
Oh, you think so?
I like Zbyszko a lot. The New World Order.
Hey, and speaking of things that are underrated, you want to know what we'll be covering next week? No, we're doing a double shot. Yes, that's right, folks. We are covering 2 shows next week. We are covering Starrcade 87 and Halloween Havoc 1989.
Skywalker's 2?
Yes. Okay. I mean, didn't you?
Halloween Havoc 89 with Bruno Sammartino as a special guest referee in that match. It's just weird.
I know how to pick them. So, I mean, what can I say? So.
I just Muda on that show.
It's got funk on it, and
any WCW shows from Philadelphia are really, really good. Check out Slamboree.
And it's got a young Mike Rotundo on it. Yes,
The captain.
I
Is
think
he the captain?
was, and a young
Who's
Gary Michael Capetta, who he doesn't look young anymore, but he's still a nice guy.
No. What about David Penzer? You're a David
No,
Penzer
I'm
guy?
not. Are you David Penzer? Mark?
Really?
Fan?
Ah, not
No,
really.
I'm more of a. I am more of a. I think the guy who used to do the Starcades in the 80s, or at least he did Starcade 86. I love his ring presence and his sound. But
Yeah, it was good.
I heard.
It was good. I like the Fink. I like Capetta.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The Fink was great. I didn't like the Fink with hair, but that was.
I like Joan fucking McHugh. He's fucking awesome.
And then there was the female ring announcer from the 80s.
Rita Chatterton.
Blonde.
That's Rita Chatterton.
Yes,
Mike McGurk.
Yes.
Rita Chatterton was the referee. That's right. Guys, there was a female referee in the 80s.
They probably didn't point that out because it was the 80s. So it was a boys' club. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Vince actually harassed her allegedly.
hey, I'm sure he did that to a lot of people. But
Then when he said it, I think when they brought it up in court, he's like, "Look at her! Would I really sexually harass her?"
trying to say she wasn't very good looking.
According to
I mean,
Vince.
Vince has well, anyway. But
I'll tell you this. We'll talk quickly about Linda McMahon. She has big hooters. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that.
no, I've not.
I don't think anyone's ever noticed the chest on fucking Linda McMahon. They're fucking giant. She hides it very well, but I've seen some pictures. Big fucking hooters on that lady. Good for you, Vince. They probably sleep in separate rooms now, though.
I mean, with her big boobs, I mean, they gotta,
And his, genetic jackhammer, apparently.
I mean,
You think the Vince is the type of guy to get a penis implant?
I'm not even gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole. So,
I mean, you could,
I mean,
but I'm just saying.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you're a billionaire. I was like, hey, might as
I'm
fucking
sorry,
well.
I mean, she may have big boobs, but normally I don't look at women who are, of a certain age. They're anyway. But that's hey, I don't judge. I don't judge. So, yeah, man, you are who you are, right?
I mean, I guess. I mean, Stephanie's been changing her size forever at this point. So there was one point where she was ridiculous.
And then she kind of deflated. Well,
She deflated, yeah. Good for her, though. It must have hurt you bad.
I bet you did. But on that note, for the great Alex G, as always, I am David Fine. We will see you back here next week on Retro Wrestling Rewind. We'll talk to you in the past.
238 pounds in the black corner. From St. Louis,
Here comes
Missouri.
Mr. Pro. Mr.
Andre the
Pro
Giant.
Gonna get his licks in on the bruiser. Hulk Hogan.
Number one, the greatest WWE champion of all time, and in many ways, the man who made the title what it is today, Bruno Sammartino.
His opponent weighing 236 pounds in the white corner. From Van Nuys, California.